Let me now review a script for calculating distances. To calculate the distance between two objects, you'll use the point class. Use this class to create games or interactions that depend on the distances between an object and the user's mouse pointer, between two objects, or even between two moving objects on the stage. Distances between any 2 points on the stage can be calculated by the point.distance method. If you open up the calculating_distance.fla file, click on the first keyframe of the first layer, open up the Actions panel, you'll see this method right here, point.distance. Notice that this takes two parameters, the first point object and the second point object. It returns a number representing the distance between the 2 points. Here, this is calculating the distance between the mouse pointer and the center of the stage. Because this requires point objects as parameters, you can't just plug in x and y coordinates. You have to first create point objects for the coordinates. Here I'm doing that with this function, display distance. Here's a variable, creating a new point object that's the mouse x and mouse y. That's the current location of my cursor. That's what those two lines or those two arguments will return. Mouse x is the position in the x direction of my mouse. Mouse y is the current vertical position. So in the first parameter of my distance method, that's going to place the coordinate of my mouse, or the current location of my mouse. The second parameter is created by converting the movie clip center point to another point object with this line of code. I'm creating a new point object. Here, it's going to be the center of this movie clip right here, x and y. That's the center point. Notice that if I click on the x right there, that's actually a movie clip, and the name of the movie clip is center_MC. Let's go back to the timeline. And let's anchor the timeline up there so we can see it. And now let's open up the Actions panel right here. Click on the first keyframe. So there is the second point that I'm placing in my point.distance method. Then the last line here is actually displaying the result of my distance right there. In this text field, the name of that text field, notice, is my display _txt. I'm also using the math.round function. That will round the value to the nearest integer. So you'll notice that I won't get a funny decimal number, a number with a lot of decimal places there as the distance. So if we do a control test movie, and I move my mouse right on top of the movie clip there, I'm going to get a very low number. There's 0. That's right on top of the center point of the movie clip. As I move out, the math.round function is rounding out the results to give me just a whole number, an integer. So in this case, I'm calculating the distance between a static point and my moving mouse cursor, but you can also calculate the distances between two moving objects, which is probably how you'll use this in your game. Two objects are moving, and then depending on the distance, you can calculate that distance and then have Flash do something based on that distance. Now you'll also often want to introduce randomness to your Flash games. That'll give you more replayability so that each time you play it it's a bit different and the objects move differently. You'll accomplish these random movements and these random aspects of your games using a random number generator script, which is the topic of the next movie.